A few years ago, I started working with a big B2C brand. And at the time, they were the biggest client that I had ever worked with. And their ad spend was well over $1 million in the last 12 months. So I was very excited to get started on this project, but also a little bit intimidated because I knew the previous agency they had worked with. And I think at the time, their agency had about 50 people dedicated to advertising and increasing the performance and stuff. So I was a bit intimidated by that. So when they gave me access to the account, I was very excited to jump in and look at all of the fancy things they were doing and learn from it. But also find out what things they weren't doing and where I could shine and look good. So when I got access to the account and I went through, I remember that it took me a while. It took me a couple of hours to get through the whole account and understand how all the parts were working. And I remember that there were lots of campaigns and that they were in fact doing some advanced things. So by going through that, what did I discover? Well, one of the biggest lessons I learned that day is that me as a solo consultant, I can compete with these bigger agencies. And that's not a humble brag about my amazing skills or something, but it's a testament to how Google Ads work and how most companies are using Google Ads. Because even though they were doing some pretty fancy and amazing things, their foundation wasn't right. Even within a couple of hours of going through the account, I could point to certain parts where they were spending money. I'm talking about thousands of dollars every month on parts that weren't generating sales and weren't adding any other value to this. And this is something that I've seen again and again. Very often it comes down to doing these basics very well, to have even a chance of competing in a competitive marketplace. Because these big brands, all of these big brands are wasting money and they can afford to lose this money because they have a buffer or they don't notice it yet. But you as a profit-focused advertiser, I don't want you to waste this money, and probably you or the people in your business don't want you to waste this money either. So that's why I'm sharing this story. Because when I mentioned doing the basics well to people, especially people that have had some experience or that have campaigns running, so if you have campaigns running, I'm looking at you, a lot of these people don't really see the value in going through their foundations again, because they're not very sexy. Looking for that next tip, trick or hack that will increase your campaigns 100 by 100, 200, 1000%, that's a lot more sexier. But the truth is that most of the time it comes down to doing the basics very well and then using that as a foundation to build on and do more complicated, more advanced things. So in this module, we'll build that solid foundation.